There we go. Welcome to Here for the Horses. Glad you're here for the horses. We are on week 2 of Journey Through the Horse, so that is exciting. What I normally do is a little icebreaker with like a funny horse video because I love them so much. And I do have one. I do have one. But I'm actually going to share something that happened today with you. So as I was um going. Oh, whoops, hold on. I'm trying to find it here. As I was going to church this morning, of course, because these things only happen on Sundays when you are on your way out, because I very rarely look nice. So these things only happen when you're actually dressed nice. And it's also always on a Sunday because that cost extra from the vet. Um, so I went out to, well, I was walking out, and of course, I always look out as I'm going out to my car, and I see Chester on the wrong side of the fence. And he's looking at me like, can someone come and get me, please? Because I don't want to be over here anymore. Okay. And I thought to myself, my neighbors and I have a gate. So I have a fence, there's a ditch, and then there's another fence. And there's a gate in between because we thought we'd put one in case she wants to come use my arena or something like that. So there's this ditch, and then there's a ditch in the back, and then there's property that I can put my horses on back there that isn't mine, but I've fenced it off. Well, I thought that one of the kids, because both of our kids, they're both named Evelyn, play with each other. And so I thought one of the kids left the gate open and then he got in there and then got stuck because it cl got closed or something. But he had actually, I think he slid under, because it's really icy here. He slid under the fence. Um, and was stuck in the little ditch. So I see him and his face is like, "Can you come get me, please? I don't want to be out here." So I'm like, "Ah, crap. I got to go out there now." So I go out and I get him and he was real cute cuz okay, here's something I do want to talk about. There's two things that I don't really want them to happen, but I do want to know how my horse is going to act when they happen. Okay? Because you can't like produce it. One of them is when they're scared and like legit scared. I want to know what they're going to do. Like, what's their go-to move? Do they lose their mind? Do they shut down? Do they listen? Do they not listen? I like to know that. And then the second thing that I like to know about a horse, not that I want it to happen, is how do they act when they're hurt? How do they act when they're hurt? Do they listen? Do they like are they really protective? Are they going to kick you in the face if you try to help them? Like what's going on? Um, so I see Chester over there and I'm like, he's like, "Come get me. I don't want to be here." So I grab the halter and I didn't know how he got in there, but I know there's a couple ways for me to get him out. So I went and put the halter. Well, no, I had to climb the fence, walk the fence line. It's all icy out, so I'm like slipping. And I'm calling him because we have to get to the far end of that ditch to get him out of there. And so he's like following me. He's like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm coming." I'm like, "Come on, Chester." And he's like following me. Okay. So that was nice to know that he would do that. And then he came right up to me and was like, "Put that halter on me and let's get out of here." So he wanted out. Okay, put the halter on, walked him through the neighbor's pasture, had to go around and then bring him out. So that was good news. And then I saw that his back foot was cut right at the pastern. Now, what do I always say to you guys about if there's a spot on your horse's body you can't touch? That's the one that's going to get hurt. That exact spot. Okay. Now, luckily, this was his left foot and not his right hind. It's a little better. It's a little better. But he was cut on that pastern. Okay. So I got the cold hose out and I start hosing him off in my church attire in the gravel. And I'm hosing him off and he's picking the foot up and he's being really, really good. Like really good. He didn't, and you know what the other thing? He didn't kick. He didn't kick with that back foot when I was cold. I don't care if he did because I'm cold hosing. I'm 5 feet away, but he didn't kick. So I thought this is interesting. So then I put some, he actually lifted his foot up and like put it out so that I could cold hose it better, which I also thought was really interesting. So I grabbed that foot while it was up in the air, like literally up mid belly range, and I held it. And then I had some of that silver stuff and I wiped that silver stuff on it, which I really like. And then I was like, all right, buddy, I gotta go to church and then I'll be back. So I turned him out. He seemed like he was fine. I turn him out, I come back from church, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a good look at this now and see, because it's a pastern, so I'm not gonna wrap it. I'll cut all circulation off of that foot and he'll come back, he won't have a foot on that leg. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I come out and
And a cocktail?
I'm like, I'm gonna cold hose you again, buddy. So I cold hosed him again. He was also very good. And then I let that kind of dry off, and then I cold hosed some other little things that he had. And he was super good. So I'll show you guys that video. I took a video just in case it was gonna be crazy. But it wasn't. It was really good. So hold on a second. And then I took a whole bunch of time and uh trimmed my mare's feet after that. I had plans of riding, which those got shot down pretty quick, which is fine. Let me move that. Hold on. Move, move. Okay. All right. Here it is. Oh, there's the photos. You guys want to see the photos? Those of you guys don't like blood, look away. It's not that bad. Can you guys see that? If you can't, I can't see you, so it doesn't matter. All right. All right. So, and then, yeah, those are all it's nothing crazy, but I think Georgia's been cut like twice since I've owned her. Like she just doesn't get hurt. So it's kind of crazy. But I'll show you how good he is. Oh yeah. So I also found that he had like he was really sensitive on that foreleg. He got like a little, but I couldn't even find the cut. So I don't know what he did. I talked to him way too much. All right, let me try the other side now. So it's this foot that's cut. I'm just explaining it to him here so he knows. Don't all that magic piece. Magic, Chester. It's magic. Okay? It's magic. Just put that foot if I gotta put it on that foot, okay? It's magic piece. Just for you. Yes, it's magic. Okay? Have to pick that foot up for me. I'm like, don't kick me in the face, please. Yeah, let me see it. Thank you, Bobbies. Yes, honey. Yes, Bubba. I'll tell you what, he knows the difference, that's for sure. Because that was crazy. Oh boy. So good. Man. Yeah, so pretty crazy. And it just made me think, they know the difference, man, so much. And he was honestly like, help me. He was like, I got hurt. I got hurt. And he knew he was hurt. And I was like, I'm gonna put this stuff on your feet. So don't blammo at me, all right, buddy? And he was just so good about it. So it's kind of crazy. I thought I'd share that with you guys. I will put that full video up if you guys want to see it. Um, but it's interesting to watch how good He was for me and that he would just let me do stuff. The other thing that I thought was interesting, and it kind of opened an idea for me with him. So you guys know I've been trying a bunch of different stuff with his, trying to figure out what the magic trick is going to be to get him to release tension in that back foot of his, the back feet, because it's emotional and it's old and it's triggered really fast and he like regresses. So, when I was spraying him down with water, he didn't kick. He picked it up, but he didn't kick. So now I'm kind of like, I wonder if I can spray him with water. Like I'm just kind of thinking outside the box. But it's interesting because I can rub his feet all over, up, down, touch him, rub him, brush him. I can touch him with the crop. I can ask him to pick his foot up with the dressage whip and he'll pick it up. But it's something about the motion of the hand and the body going down. He cocks that head and he goes like that. And it's a particular look. It's very interesting. So just trying to kind of unlock that situation for him. But really happy to know that if he's hurt, he'll let me handle it. It's just like he just doesn't want me to pick his feet up. Just, regular maintenance he's not a big fan of, whatever. So, well, I'll keep you guys informed on that. It's really interesting. Okay, welcome. We are all here. Nadine's trying 7 different ways to get in. I hope you can get in. I hope you can get in, Nadine. Okay, so week one, you guys were champions on this. This was some fun stuff. We had a lot of good stuff going on. Um, any questions right off the bat on week one? Because I'm going to talk about some of the videos. It was really cool seeing a lot of new horses. It was fun. Any questions? Okay. So let's take a look then, and we'll see what we got going on. Did he do that on barbed wire? No, there's no barbed wire around. I think it was just chestnut Arabians. I know. Um, I think it was just maybe like that. There's they have like done conservation in that ditch, and they have uh that fabric. So it might have been that fabric or just something random. Who knows? They always hurt themselves on the most random stuff. Rebecca said I was practicing on some other horses and could feel a sort of snapping in the pole. Yes, it is the nuchal ligament. Yeah, so there's a really cool video out and I feel like I saved it and then I can't find it. But when you are so the atlas has a spine and it sticks up. The nuchal ligament goes over the top of it. And so I'm not saying it's damage, because I don't know for sure. It could just be there. I don't know. I feel like it's a combination of some things. I don't know for sure though. But the nuchal ligament, as it goes over, sometimes when it's either really tight, it's been damaged, horses that have tie downs a lot, it'll snap over it, and you'll see that snapping. Okay. And my dad's horse actually had it a long time. And then there's also, I feel like, I feel like there's also a look, and you'll see it in a lot of quarter horses where they have a really flat C1, C2 area, and then it kind of like dives down. And my dad's horse was like that too. I feel like my dad's horse was like an old ranch horse that was worked really hard because he was real stocky and strong and just didn't care about anything. But yeah, that nuchal ligament goes over the spine and it'll snap to both sides. You'll see that. Now, normally I can get that to loosen up with massage. Not always. So, good questions. Linda, I hope you can figure it out. Yeah. Okay. So, I'll give you this week's homework first. Let me find it. Let's see. Here it is. This week's homework, I'm adding a new one. We'll talk about that. I'm adding one that's not on the clinic. Okay. Forehead. That's not on the clinic, so we're going to talk about it. Forehead rub. Jaw rub. We'll talk about that. And the TMJ. All of those are located, except for the forehead rub, in your clinic. Right here, jaw rub, TMJ. Those are the two that are in your clinic. So I want you to watch those first and then go out and do them, videotape it. And then for the forehead rub, this one's really important. And I think I kind of gave it to you guys as homework, a couple of you. Ellie got cut to this. I'm telling you, we got to keep them horses in check. Um, Flat hand, forehead, one hand on the halter, do some circles. Circles. Sweep over the eye. Sweep over the eye. Circles. Go up and rub the bulbs. Rub the bulbs. Okay? So, oh, I don't have my sheets that Leanne made me. But I want you to go rub the bulbs. Okay, so do that one first. That should actually go with the ears and poll because it's a very similar movement. So I'll normally start on the forehead, to be honest with you. So one hand on the halter, other hand on the forehead. You can start with just a flat, warm hand and then start incorporating circles and then use your fingertips. Okay, then sweep over the eye, sweep over the eye. Okay, what am I looking for on the forehead? Well, tight fascia. It's in a triangle shape. So if you have a really strong triangle shape, and I know that I have a photo of this actually, but if I can find it now, probably not. Um, but if you have a triangle that goes from the center to the eyeballs on the horse, you can loosen all that up. If you also have those really strong marks around the eyes, you want to loosen all that up. The um the skin on the forehead should all move equally. Okay? The skin on the forehead should all move equally. And if you have a stuck spot, you want to loosen that up. You'd be surprised how much tension is in the forehead. This is what's going to, this tight forehead stuff is what's going to, um, oh, here, I'm going to show you this video. Hold on. This is actually the horse that I know that I have a photo of. She has a little tight forehead. Share. Okay. Rebecca knows this horse. Okay, see where my hand is? So I obviously, do you see the triangle here, you guys? Boom. Do you see that? Okay. And do you see these little eye divot things here? Loosen that up. I don't actually know if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing on this one, but yeah. So I'm loosening up those big bulbs on this, okay? Look at her face, isn't she cute? There. There you go. Yeah. There you go. So I'm kind of doing a variation of what I just told you guys because I'm specifically trying to loosen up this area right here. But see the triangle, you guys? Do you see that?
Mhm.
Look at her. My goodness, that's tight. Stella. Don't mind your brother. He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. So then you can do little circles. I'll shoot away if I have. You can do little circles. Socks is being obnoxious.
Father, I did.
You see what I'm doing there, you guys? Do you see there's a tight spot right there? Do you see that? Loosen that up. Check, and you know what? I want each one of you to take, now some of your horses are going to have loose foreheads, so this isn't going to be a big deal. But I want you to take a picture of your horse's forehead before you start, and then I want you to do the forehead, the jaw, and the pole work. And then, if you can wait like 10 minutes and then take a photo afterward, I want to see what that looks like. Let's do some before and afters this week, okay? There. See how I'm sweeping up over the eye? Sweep up over the eye. Okay. So now I'm moving on to the jaw rub here. Let's watch this too. You can start with a flat, warm hand. I just swept behind for the hyoid. Oh, she says, oh, okay. I got distracted by the hyoid. Check this side. No, that's hyoid stuff. Okay, never mind. Okay, so flat, warm hand, do some circles. See if that skin doesn't move. If it doesn't move, work on it. Okay, and then start checking out the bulbs. There's two bulbs. If one of those bulbs is bigger than the other, generally I will look for, I go, are there teeth issues? Teeth. Okay. When were the teeth done last? Are they uneven? Does the horse chew properly? That sort of stuff. If they're really tight, it could just be they hold tension there, they chew hard, they're cribbers, whatever. Any cribbers, you're going to want to check those bulbs. Okay. And then you want to check those little eye things because that's just tight fascia. And just rub around, like do what you can, figure it out. There's no, I try different things. There's no right or wrong. Just do whatever. And then sweeping the hands over the eyes is really an interesting one because who was I working on? Someone's right eye this last week that I was working on what had like a ton of tension in, and it wasn't normal because I work on that horse all the time. So for whatever reason, there was something going on with that horse's left eye. Sylvie, I was kind of pressing and squeezing a little bit, but you can play around. I was playing around with it because I was just trying to see what would work. So you can scratch it, you can rub it, you can just put a warm hand on it, you can press on it, you can move it around, do whatever. Um, you know, and I talked about this in one of the videos. I'm going to go on a sidetrack here. Rebecca kind of made up her own move on Bling this week. She had her hand here and she was doing the hand and it was fine. And then she did some squeezing and that was fine. And she kind of did like a back and forth like that. And Bling was like, yeah, now we're talking. Okay. So that's what Bling wanted. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Add it to your box of tools. Try that. Okay. So try stuff. Try stuff. What's going to happen? They're probably going to end up liking it. Okay. Um, so that's the forehead rub. Pretty easy. Sweep over the eyes. We want to touch every square inch of the horse's body. Okay. My clinic does a pretty good job. We're probably at 75% of the horse's body in my clinic. So you're doing pretty darn good. A lot of stuff gets missed in general massage because of different reasons. So we don't want to miss anything. We want to know everything. Because, honestly, if you can't touch a horse somewhere, that's where they're going to get hurt. And if you don't touch a horse somewhere, that's where the sliver is. Okay. Honestly, I've found more slivers on horses than I would have ever thought was possible. I've pulled out wood slivers like that. I've pulled out blackberry bushes, and it's always like kind of in their forehead or hairline or whatever. So I find stuff all over horses' bodies because I touch all over horses' bodies. Okay. The next one we're going to do is the jaw rub, which I love, which I love. Okay, flat warm hand, your start on the jaw. Circles, have one hand on the halter, please. Now, you're going to start soft, which most of you are very good at. And then you're going to go harder and you're going to go up and down like this. Now, what you're looking for are sausages that go like this. Okay, so let's pull up an equine masseter muscle. Hold on. Remember when I say, ooh, my either my computer was listening to me or it knew that I was going to pull this up. Okay, yeah, this is a great photo. Hold on. So let's take a look at these masseter muscles here. Okay, here's the masseter muscle. You're gonna rub, so you can do circles to start with. Circle, 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 circle. And then you're gonna go up and down this way. Cross fiber. Why? Because these muscle bundles get tight and what they feel like are sausages. Sausage, and normally it's not up here, it's normally down here. Sausages. Okay? So the way you find sausages is you go cross fiber friction. The way you get rid of sausages is you press at the insertion point, which is right below that bone that sticks out. Press at the insertion point. You can press at this insertion point down here too, but in general, it's this one up here that kind of controls it. And then you do slow, direct pressure or kind of linear friction down the muscle. Okay. So slow and press, release, or slow and press and slide down. You'll follow the whole sausage all the way down. And then to check it, you do flat warm hand, do some circles, and then check by going back over again. Okay? And the sausages are probably going to be down here if they're anywhere. And you can see how they're in like little bundles there, right? Probably doesn't help that I keep putting my cursor over it. But you guys can see that those are kind of muscle bundles. Okay. So you want to go warm it up, go against cross fiber, find the muscle bundle, press right where that bone is, and then kind of you can use your fingers like this and kind of that muscle, pull that muscle. If that doesn't work, use direct pressure and work all the way down that muscle and make that sausage go away. Okay. That do that for a little bit and then give it a break, right? And do something else and then come back. Because sometimes you'll feel the muscles give directly, but sometimes you need to take a little break, let the horse kind of go, okay, and then come back. And that's going to be smaller. So rarely do I get those completely out in one shot. They normally take, a week. Three times, two times, three times. Sometimes I get them like 80% out, which I'm always super happy with. Okay. But generally they won't be flat. And then with your own horses, what you're going to want to do is do those come back quickly. You always want to know that, actually. Is that gone? Or does that come back? So I'll tell a fun story because I love this story so much. Um, she's not a red mare. She's got red mare attitude, but she's like a liver chestnut mare. Okay. They probably have their own category, but real, tough mare. Okay. And not tough in a bad way. That's just her person, like Georgia style. Okay. I show up and, this is the first massage. And I can tell she's kind of like Georgia. I can kind of tell when I show up and there's a horse like mine. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And the owner's like, yeah, she can be a little much sometimes. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got this mare. She's gonna love me. Don't worry. So I start with the forehead rub, and she is like, la 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 la. And according to Margaret Hinkley, something like that. She does a lot of fascia work. I have her book. It's called "If Is Your Horse 100%?" It's a great book if you want it. It's cool on fascia. She says that trauma is stored in the forehead and the head of the fascia. So fascia in the head. And I go, well, I don't know how you prove that, but okay. You know what I mean? I don't know how you prove that, but okay. So I'm working on this horse and she's just, oh, no, my forehead, don't. And I'm like, okay, honey. And so I'm telling the client that I read this book and this is what the book says. And I find it interesting. I don't know how you prove it, but okay. And so I keep working that fascia because it was real stuck to her forehead, right? Like that skin was not moving like that. And then I don't know what happened, but that horse started sneezing and coughing for about like a minute and a half. And I looked at the owner. This is what I always say to owners. So if any of you get your horse massaged by me, I always go, "Oh no, this is totally normal. Totally, totally normal. Totally." And when I like don't know what they're doing, I'm like, "Yeah, this is fine." Um, And so she's like sneezing and coughing for like a minute and a half. And I'm just like, we unleashed something here. And I think it was old. And she was like, well, she did have a trailer accident and she da 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 da. And I thought, well, you know what's, I don't know. I don't know, right? I can't say what it was from. I can't say anything. I can just say, that was really cool. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad I could do that for her. So, anyways, I'm more interested in what happens when I come back? Like, is it gone? Does it slightly come back? Is it less? Is it whatever? So I come back the next month for another massage and nothing. There is nothing in that horse's forehead or face or ears or nothing. She had no reaction whatsoever. And I was like, this is really cool. This is super cool. We got tension out of that horse that had been sitting around for who knows how many years. And it was really exciting. And I continue to massage that horse. I still see her occasionally at some of the barns that I go to. She's retired now, living the life. But I still see her and she has no tension in that forehead. So that was a one and done. So I talk about that sometimes is that sometimes it's a one and done and sometimes it's not. Okay. So it's just good to know. That was my point of that story. It's good to know if it comes back and how long does it take to come back and at what degree does it come back. Okay. So it was pretty exciting to find out it didn't ever come back ever. So it was probably a situation that had happened, caused it. She couldn't get rid of it herself. She made sure that everyone stayed off of it, right? Don't touch my forehead. And most people are like, fine. You don't want to make a red mare angry, right? So you're like, okay, you can have your forehead. I won't touch it. But then it was able to be released. Okay. If you suspected headache, all movements on the head. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure she had a headache, right? I mean, she had something going on. So, that was cool. And yeah, by the way, that horse loved me. That horse loved me after that. So, body works cool. Okay. So, jaw, that's the other thing. Come back and check it. See if it's better, see if it's worse. One warning on this one, this is a safety tip and trick. If it's a wild reaction, like do not touch my cheek like that, I want you to be careful. And you might, if you have teeth issues and the teeth are causing ulcers, that will not be a move that they appreciate. So generally, I can tell the difference between tension and like pain. Okay? Because a pain is like very fast, very like pull away, you know what I mean? Like, oh, don't do that. And it's real fast and they don't get over it. Okay? So tension is generally more like, ooh, I don't like, and they'll go in different directions. They'll be like, ooh, I don't like this. This is not fun. But with pain, it's normally just straight away from that situation. But I understand if you don't know that difference. And if you are worried about that, and I'm not worried about it, I swear, I think I've had two horses with teeth issues in 16 years. So I'm not worried about it, but I want you to be aware of it. Um, then I want you to send me a video. Yeah, send me a video. Okay. Tension has more of a buildup. Yeah, especially when you like get closer to it. Yeah, builds up. Yep. Okay, so that's the jaw rub. People like this one and horses like it too. So I want you to enjoy it. Enjoy it. Find those sausages. And then if your horse doesn't like if your horse is really like loose, go find another horse. Find a sausage. I want y'all to feel a sausage this week. That's your homework. Okay? Um this first week was really cool because we had some horses that were like, do it harder. This isn't hard enough. And then we had some horses that were like, whoa. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that today. That was fun to see. Because on some horses, I was like, pull harder, and some I was like, whoa, back, back up, breathe softer. Don't look them in the eye, stuff like that. Okay. And then the last one is the TMJ. Let me show you that. I'll pull up a skeleton. Equine TMJ. Let's see if it pulls up what I want it to. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. I like some of these different photos, to be honest with you. Oh, this one's cool. Okay, I'm going to show you this photo first. Hold on. Uh, transmandibular joint, I think. Temporal mandibular joint. I always say transmandibular joint first, and then I go, no. Okay, so this is the TMJ. Okay, there are two bulbs. There's a big one, and it's always this one. This one's always bigger at the top, and then there's a small one. Now, some of your horses they'll be almost the same size. And then some of them you'll barely be able to touch this, like feel this one, but you should be able to palpate both of them. Okay. And then in between bump number one and bump number two, there's like a squishy little area right here. It's a squishy little area, and I love the way that it feels. That's the point that we're going to put our fingers. Okay. So let me show you another photo. This one's really cool. Look at the size of this. That's big. That's really big. So here's the big one, and then look at the little tiny one right here. Okay. That's the tiny one. So where I would put my finger is right there in between. Okay. So we're just going to I'm going to scroll around here and look. We're just going to put your finger in between those two spots. Oh, here's this one's kind of cool. Okay. Right there. That's the squishy spot right there. Right there. Okay. So I want to make sure that you get your finger not that it doesn't matter, but if you want to be effective, okay, I want it right there, right in between those two bulbs. Okay. So what I'm gonna want you to do is stop share. Okay. Find those two bulbs, put your finger on it. Boop, like that. You're not pressing, you're not pushing, you're not tapping, you can. I don't. I know other people teach to do little circles like that. You can. I don't. I don't feel like I need to. Sometimes I will. If I can tell there's tension, but they're not responding, I'll change it up, right? I'm always looking for the answer. Okay. So you're just going to bring attention to it. And what you're looking for here is blinks. Okay. This originated with Masterson method. You're going to be looking for blinks. If they go, that's tension. And all I want you to do is stand there and go like that. You do not need to press. People want to do something. They feel like if I'm not doing something, this isn't going to work. It does work. Okay. Just going to touch it, hold it, and then back up. Get out of their space a little bit. It was funny to see the horses that needed space too, because some of them didn't. Some of them didn't. Okay. So your cue to whether there's tension there. I mean, there's obviously the other cues where they're like avoiding it, but your cue to whether they have tension is blinking. And this is a really fun one to learn your horse's blinks also, and that there are different blinks. So there's like the rapid eye blink. There's like the really loud one. It like makes a clicking sound. I like those. Okay. There's kind of sometimes I'll be working on one side of the horse and only one side is blinking. I think that's interesting. They're like, oh, they're blinking over here. And I'm like, they're not blinking over here. They're like, yeah, they are on the other side. I'm like, okay. Okay. So, yep, just try that one. TMJ is easy, but hang out there for a while. You guys are doing really good being patient and not rushing through stuff, so that's fun. Okay. So give those a try and see what you get. That's this week's homework. Easy peasy. Any questions on those three? Okay, cool. I was going to tell you guys, it's always fun to, I mean, this is obviously a fun group, and I feel like we all just become friends through this journey, but it is also fun to bring friends along. So this week until Saturday, I have created another coupon code. If you want to invite friends to do this, it's not too late, and they can join anytime. It doesn't bother me. I always kind of I put a deadline, but I don't just join if you want to join. I'm not bothered at all. But till Saturday, any of your friends or you, if you don't have the clinic yet, can get 20% off the clinic by using the coupon code FRIENDS. Capitals, all capitals. Let me put this stuff in here. Hold on. All right. So if you don't have the clinic or you want your friend to do this with us, here's the clinic. And then just use coupon code FRIENDS. And then they get 20% off. And they can join anytime. Okay? Let's talk a little bit about this week. So I found Alexandra's horse really interesting, and I just wanted to touch her. Okay. Because she was a great example. What a wonderful horse, by the way. You're lucky to have her. She's beautiful. And I love her like she's super obedient, but she's also very clear and she was like trying to be good, but then she was really clear about like this is becoming too much. I just love her for that. So if you guys didn't have a chance to watch Alexandra's video, it's really cool because that mare has a lot of tension in her poll, and I'm really curious to see where else in her face she has it. So this will be a great week also, and next week too. Um, and she started out like handling it pretty good. And Alexandra was really good at not pushing her too far. So that was beautiful. But as the video kept going, she kept giving more signs that she was becoming uncomfortable with the work and she wanted it to end. And she was really clear. I love her. At one point in time, Alexandra was like, "You should see her legs. She's spread apart like this." Like she had taken a defensive pose. And then she's a tall horse, I can tell. She was like, "I'm getting taller." I'm getting taller. So watch that video if you didn't have a chance. It was really interesting to watch that mare communicate. It was so beautiful. And this is what brought me to this. I forgot to do it this week. I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Being intentional. Okay. Being intentional. I talk a lot about this. Being intentional is so important. Um, Modalities are built on being intentional. So Masterson method is completely about being intentional. You cannot fake your way through that. Like you have to find the spots by being intentional in Masterson method. There's no like just do the moves and you have to really look for it. Okay. So being intentional is really important. Being intentional in massage is important. Being intentional in your work with your horse, Reiki, all that stuff. Really important to be intentional, and I talk a lot about that. there are times, not as many as when it's important to be intentional, but there are times where it's important to not be intentional because it adds another layer of intensity. When we, as predators, are intentional, we add a layer of intensity. Okay. So there's a moment in Alexandra's video where she's standing next to her horse, and I don't think I think she was doing like one of the basic moves, but she was standing not facing her, and she was doing this. Okay. So she was not intentionally looking or being intentional. She was being intentional in her moves, but not in her body language. Her body language was doing this, like out that way, the horse is over here. Because if you add the amount of intensity that was happening at her pull and then you stare at her, nah, you're done. That session's over. Okay. So sometimes you'll hear me say, think about your grocery list. Think about your calendar for the week. Like, don't think about what you're doing. And don't think about, like, I wish you would release, I wish this, all that stuff. So that was another cool example of that you guys can check out if you want to watch that video. Because that was cool. And you were good on your timing with that too, because sometimes people in some of my videos, they'll be like, are you looking off at something? What are you doing? And I'm like, I am looking off because if I add more intensity to what I'm doing right now, it's going to be too much. So when you're taking a horse to the edge, that's what I call it. Take them to the edge. Don't push them over by putting your little predator eyeballs on them. Okay. So we want to do as much as we can for them with our work, but sometimes we can be a little bit too much. So we want to soften ourselves, soften our breathing. That's another thing I noticed in one of the videos. One of you took like a really big breath. It was so good. The timing was so good on it. Okay. We need to make sure that we're breathing. Sometimes I will just breathe and blow it on them. And sometimes, I think I mentioned this maybe last week, I'll say their name. Okay. Because that kind of brings them back sometimes. So we had a couple horses, significant amount of horses actually, that went external, didn't we? We had a couple that went internal. So the difference between that is what's that out there? And okay. So we had some that did that. And that's fine. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. Um, Oh, I'll answer that in a second, Beth. I talk a lot, so you're asking the wrong person. Um, so internal and external, we had some that did that. Let's see. Stephanie and Declan, that was a good video to watch. I only took notes on like half of them. Um, step one was all he could handle, and that's where I would stay with him for a while until he's able to process a little bit more. So it was kind of cool. There was like one third, the work was a little intense. One third, it was, bang on. And then one third, it wasn't enough. Like, grab my forelock and pull it. Come on. Quit being wimpy about it. Okay. So there were a couple of quite differences. Paige in Havana, she did the, what's that over there? Okay. So that one was fun. And then we talked about Alexandra and her horse. Let's take a look. Any question? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me answer these. Hold on. Lise said, should I be warming up, starting with the poll and ears before moving to this? Oh, that's a great question. Does it build? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, yeah, you can. Yep. Especially if you have more to do on the poll and ears. Absolutely. Yeah, just don't video. I mean, you can videotape that part, but for me, if it's under 9 minutes, shoot it all over. But for me, I want to see what the homework is this week. But absolutely, you can build on it. And as I'm going through horses, that's what I do, right? So I'll do, face, then I go to the pole. If there's nothing in the pole, I move on. I mean, I don't hang out for too long. If I do the ears, like some of your guys' horses' ears were like, blah, you could move them. You could like move them all over. If your horse's ears are loose and they just go, yeah, that was pretty good, move on. Okay? Because we can't spend, you can because it's your horse, but when I'm massaging a horse, I'm kind of checking like where do I need to work as I go through. So I'm like boom, 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 boom. Okay, the pull is a hot mess. All right, TMJ is good, hyoid's good, face is good, upper neck I need to work on that, shoulders are good. Okay, so I'm going through and then I kind of come back and I hit those spots to make sure I get everything that I want to get done. Okay, so definitely you can build on that, or you can just go right into the other ones if your horse was pretty darn good. Okay, good question. Thank you. Beth, I feel like I talk to Keegan too much. Is that possible? I mean, yeah, it is possible. Um, let's see. Like Georgia would prefer if I would be quiet. Chester loves it. Chester loves love. Georgia hates it when I sing. Okay. Chester loves it. Okay, so depending on the horse, yep. Um, but I don't know, whatever. Who cares, right? Have fun. If you're a talker, talk. If you sometimes I want people to talk. Okay, so if you have a good release, I want you to say to them, good job. And we have a whole thing about words of affirmation. That was a wild thing we did. We'll do that again. That was fun. That was fun. Words of affirmation for those little horses was pretty crazy. We had some pretty crazy situations. And then also, I want you to talk if they're going internal or external. I just want you to see if you can bring them back somehow. So the way that I get Chester back is I sweep over his eyes. Okay. That kind of stopped working for a little while. So then I went to saying his name, and that worked. And then when I was talking to my instructor, my riding instructor, she said, "I love that you can," because she saw me do it, because I do it just without even knowing I'm doing it. She said, "I love that you do that, and I love that that works. I just want you to know," she always says this, "you can't do that under saddle." And I was like, I don't know, I got pretty long arms. I probably could. But what a great point, right? Because now I'm starting to ride him, and it's so cool to be linking these things together with all things, all things. I like to link massage together with all things that we do with horses. So riding is all obviously, if I can link stuff together with that, I'm going to. So she suggested picking up on his lead, which I do with Georgia. So I'm like, yeah, easy peasy, I'll do that. Okay. Or say his name, Chester. Okay. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about talking too much. I did oops. Oh, thanks. I did a silent film for somebody that told me I talk too much. So you guys can go check that out. That's on my Facebook. It's a classic. I did it in black and white. It's beautiful. Okay, good questions. Thanks, guys. Let me take a look here. Let's look real quick. I kind of wrote on the ones that I wanted to make you or have you look at if you wanted to look at them, what I want you to look at. So let's go through here. That's your homework. Welcome, everyone. Oh, yeah, these wins of the week were awesome. I love that. I think that's a good addition. Those are fun to read too. Stephanie and her tongue question. Stephanie's always got the weirdest questions. That's what we have her around for. I'm like, I need a weird question out of Stephanie a week. Oh, busy was really cool. Yeah, I asked for a follow-up on her because I wanted her to get pushed a little bit harder. Okay. Tessa's amazing. That's a funny little horse. Oh yeah, and Gail did a great job. I asked for a little bit more for her, and we got a great response. So this horse has tension coming out in his mouth, right? And she was doing at distance work, and he just had a lot of tension. And I was like, we need to skip that and just go for it because it'll take too long and it'll also kind of become a ritual. And you have to be careful of ritual stuff. That's more advanced, so I'm not gonna scare everybody with that. But some horses will make things a ritual and then you're not doing any good. So I'm like, skip over it. That was really cool. And she did, and she got great results. I do want a hand on the halter though. Oh yeah, yeah, there's the original one. Yep, that was fun. Bajillion. It took me like 35 seconds to figure out how to say that. I'm looking forward to seeing this horse more. I think we got some stuff going on in the neck. I did see some neck stuff on some of these horses. This was cool. Sorry I called him a girl for the first part of it. This is a cool horse, real expressive. I love it. That was a fun video. Cowboy was interesting because he was holding a lot of tension in, and he got some great releases. Okay, here's Busy again. Yeah, she's an interesting one to watch because she holds stuff in and she's real mild about it. So this would be one that could fool people for years. This horse could fool people for years because she's not showing a lot. Okay. Keegan, yeah, he was cool. He goes internal. Look at that eye. This will be fun for him too. Yeah, Huck has a ton of tension. And here's a situation. This is an older horse, so I'm super excited that Jennifer's working on him because, oh my gosh, he is going to feel so good by the end of this. It's going to be really fun to watch. It'll be similar to the transformation that Jenny has with Big Mac, Little Mac, Mac Daddy. Cheryl and Legend. I think I gave her I think I gave her homework. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, this is the Alexandra's video you can watch. That's a beautiful horse. Okay. Um, Dally Polonaires. Yeah, that's a nice horse. Yeah, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. Stefan. I have to always think about it. He's holding a fair amount of tension, so we'll figure those out. Yeah, so there were some great videos. I want you guys to kind of check them out if you have any questions. This is going to be really fun. I'm going to talk about this real quick, actually, and then we'll end unless anybody has questions. Um, um, Arthritis. Okay, so my first question, if you guys haven't heard, is the arthritis verified? Okay, because a lot of people, they find a stiff neck and they go, oh, that must be arthritis. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, what did the x-rays say? Okay. I believe in arthritis, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to hear that, someone said this horse has arthritis. I want to know because it's going to be a factor in the whole picture. Okay. So, if a horse has arthritis, cool, where's it at? And then I'm always really interested to see if it shows up when I'm doing work on a horse. Because you'd be surprised how a lot of times it doesn't. And that is not me saying it's not there. I'm just saying it's not affecting the work that I'm doing, which is awesome. Okay. And then that way, when you're doing work on your own horse, especially, you're going to know the baseline of that horse. So you're going to know if the arthritis is getting worse. Isn't that great? You know? So you're going to know. You're also going to know that if it does affect a range of motion, lateral flexion, or anything else that they're doing, then you need to know that when you're riding. And you need to know that when someone's working with your horse because they might be like, oh, they're not doing what I'm not, da, 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 da. It's like, no, they have arthritis in 3C, 3, 4, C4 or wherever it's at. It doesn't matter. So that's cool. So we cannot change arthritis as massage therapists, obviously, But what we can do is loosen up all those muscles around it and just make them feel super, super good. Okay. So because with arthritis, sometimes what happens is that the horse, and this happens without arthritis, but the horse will stabilize by tightening the muscles. Those muscles must be, cared for. Because what happens if it's a small area, it becomes a very large area. And then that horse is not able to function just because the muscles are tight. It just spreads throughout the whole body. Okay. So we want to make sure that we always address muscles. Muscles don't have arthritis, so you can work with them. All right, it's the bones. And then you want to know the baseline of that horse too. Okay. Deb, can you please tell me again how to post a video? I tried to post mine and didn't get it to you. Just so you know, I did have a couple that I had done voiceovers on that they didn't post on my side either, so that's fine. I guess that happens. So I'm doing all videos, so if you guys don't see your video up, just message me. You're not bothering me at all. All right, let me show you, Deb. You're gonna go to this page, the community page, and then you're gonna go to right here, and then you go to, sorry, this thing's in the way. You go to right here, boop, and then you grab it from wherever it's at. Like that. And then you hit open and then you submit it. Okay? Easy peasy. Somebody have their hand up? Stephanie.
So I was thinking I'm going to do Cooper this week for the masseter, only because he does this weird thing, and with his when I start rubbing there,
Mm-hmm.
like this, um, it is that like a learned behavior? I mean, I've never got him to quit doing that. Could you maybe speak to that, please?
So that might fit into, and I don't know for sure, but that might fit into the rituals thing that I was talking about. So there's a couple different ways to look at it. So sometimes they will get stuck in these rituals where, they either know that if they do certain things, then you're going to respond in a certain way, or by doing those things in the past, it actually made them feel better. So now they're just doing kind of a fake ritual. Okay. And I have horses that, when they don't want me working on something on their body, they'll scratch their rib cage with their mouth because they know that I go, oh, good, yeah, good. And I'll, rub their ribs and it stops me from doing what I'm doing. Fergie, by the way, if if you guys saw that video I put up this week. So Fergie does that, and I go, Ferg, I'm not falling for it today, okay? So that's one of the things. I have other horses that will do kind of ritual things when you start rubbing. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's definitely like a response to either past tension or stress or past relief from tension and stress. Okay. And then those of you guys that have been following Nancy Ackerman's horse with the hyoid issue, that's been getting much, much better. I just massaged him last week and oh man, he looks so good and he's doing so good. And she has the same trainer I have, Rhoda Higgins. And Rada has been, so I was telling Nancy, you have to stop that behavior that he's doing because it's unhealthy and he gets stuck in it, right? So he does that thing where he's like, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." Okay. And I told her, you got to stop that behavior. So Rada's been giving Nancy some tips on how to stop it. So that's been working really well, and that has decreased tremendously. So it might be something that we want to stop that behavior, but I'll take a look at it this week when you do it, because it's something you have to try to figure out. And whether we figure it out or not, I don't know. But never give up on figuring stuff out, especially when you think it's weird, because you know your horse better than anybody else, and that goes for everybody on here. I trust horse owners more than I trust anybody else because horse owners know their horses better than anyone else. So always trust your gut. If you think something's weird or off, you're right. I mean, you are. I just trust people so much. because they really know their horses well.
So he
Okay.
also does another really weird thing when he goes to drink. He always puts his head at an angle. It's
Ooh.
really strange. I need to video it.
Yeah,
And
I want to see that.
I've done
That's,
hyoid, I've done teeth.
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
interesting.
it's just really strange. I'll try to video him drinking water
Yeah.
just to show you
And
that
you've
too.
had his teeth checked,
Oh, every year we have him done. Yes, yes.
and
It
you're like,
doesn't.
there's something, because that's
Yeah,
what I think, when you drink cold water and you don't want it to hit some of your
yes.
teeth, you go,
That's what I was
right?
thinking. Yep, that's what I
Yeah,
was thinking.
I know, Stephanie, you're on top of it. Tell us when you figure it out, Stephanie, okay? We all want to know. All right, Kristen, what you got?
Would you explain the difference between blinking for relaxation and blinking when it's too much? Because that's what Rooster did, and I misinterpreted his blinks. So could you just kind of talk about the difference? Because I'm not used to them blinking when they're not relaxed, sort of deal.
A relaxed blink is going to be that. Anything more than that is tension, probably. So
Okay.
you'll learn their blinks, but there's like the fast ones, those are always tension. Those are never not tension. And then the ones that click are tension. Okay. So relaxed blinks are going to be everything that is relaxation should look like relaxation. Okay. So you're probably there, it's probably tension. Horses do not blink a lot. In general when they're out hanging out. So there's some homework for you too. Go out and watch your horses and see how much they blink. We blink way more than they do. Okay, we cannot win a staring contest with them. Not going to happen. So, yeah, any blinks that you see, especially when you're working on them. So I would check him out when you're not touching him from 5 feet away. Watch what his blinking pattern is. And then when you start working on him, pay attention to what changes because it's pretty wild.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I
If
just
you
don't
have
know
a
him that
particular
well. So,
part in a video, tell me. Okay.
okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? You guys are rock stars. Doing so good. Keep it up. Okay? There's your homework. All right, go forth and conquer. You're welcome. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.